we can. I mean, we can fucking just get into it. I guess that's the begin. That's the beginning of the episode. We can just get into it, I guess, if you want to. I don't know. This is a podcast after all. Maybe we should start podcasting.
As per usual.
Hi, everyone. Cranked and Ranked. Crankin' and Rankin' is what we're doing today. This is the first multiple parter we've done in a very long time. Mostly because, like, I feel like a lot of bands, you kind of get everything that you need from us in one episode, and so we put them in. But and sometimes there's been large discographies that we've tackled all in one episode. But in this case, we're talking about Queen, and I feel like Queen is a band that deserves a little more of a conversation. So we're splitting this into 2 episodes. So welcome to part 1 of our Queen album ranking. So it's not so basically we're doing all of the actual studio albums, which means we're not including any live albums or any compilations or anything like that. Literally just the 15 official Queen albums, even though you could consider the last one they put out kind of a compilation, but it was presented as an album and completed as an album, and so that's what we're including. So today's episode is going to be the first half of that, which is actually going to be number 15 down to number 9. That's what I said. I don't know. This has been a very tough ranking for various reasons, because they're not a band that I lack criticisms for, because I do. I have criticisms, but there's also stuff that is even today kind of mind-blowing that they did. And then on top of that, there's stuff that I just flat out enjoy so much that it's like, is this their best thing? And if I get so much enjoyment out of this, is this actually better? I don't know. So it's one of those things where I feel like a Queen ranking can kind of go anywhere. I've never seen any other Queen rankings out there, but I'm assuming they vary a lot. Because I do think that old school fans who maybe were there back in the day would prefer the older stuff. And I think if you, like me, were introduced to Queen in the 80s, maybe your Queen experience is a little more 80s centric or whatever. But because my introduction to Queen, I was really, really young. I don't know if I heard something on the radio. I don't remember. What I do remember, one of my earliest memories, all the way back to, I think I was 4 years old, and I was in my preschool. So 4 or 5 preschool. I think probably 4. Anyway, we were allowed to bring records to preschool to listen to at a part of the day. And I remember I was obsessed with the soundtrack to Flash Gordon.
Nice.
Loved the movie, still love the movie today. But this is pre, so I didn't choose this on my own. I think, my older brother, because he's the sci-fi guy. So I'm pretty sure like I kind of got brought into the Flash Gordon thing through him. But once I heard that soundtrack, I was all over it. And I distinctly remember the teacher yelling at me because once the football fight song comes on, I was trying to recreate it with my friends and at the preschool, and I'm sure that was fun. But but then love that. So and then shortly after that, obviously, like a lot of people, you very quickly hear Another One Bites the Dust, We Will Rock You, We Are the Champions, all those kind of things. The one thing that I do remember that was like a really big deal for me was I had all these friends. It's like as I got a little older, I got more into Queen. And by the time I was like a early teenager, I was a Queen fan. And I just remember like I had some friends that thought that Bohemian Rhapsody was the worst song, the most annoying song. They fucking hated that song. Then all of a sudden, we go to the movie theater and we see Wayne's World. And then all these people that I knew that hated that song were like, oh, this is like such an amazing song. I'm like, yeah, oh yeah, it is. Yeah. So that was like the first experience of me being a little smug and being like,
Yeah.
fucking told you so. I told you so.
Yeah.
And then that was so weird because all of a sudden on regular like rock radio, among all of the new hits that were coming out, you would hear Bohemian Rhapsody playing in the top 10 on the radio. So you would hear like, I mean, around that time, yeah, like Nirvana or whatever, all of those different things. And then you would hear Bohemian Rhapsody. It was just like one of those things where the song blew up like for a second time. And then I think it blew up again when the Queen movie came out, which I have not seen because I've heard mixed things and I don't know if I would like it. If anybody saw the Queen movie,
I saw it in the cinema. I found it enjoyable.
Okay, yeah. One day I'll probably watch it, but I'm not really big on biopics like that because usually they annoy me in some way or another because some element that I think is very important gets either tossed away or not handled appropriately, especially when it's an artist that I know. And so I'm just like, maybe not. But anyway, so Queen. So that was my introduction to Queen, and I still love Queen. What you got? What you chiming in with here?
While we're on the subject,
Sure.
did you know that Nick Jonas is set to portray Paul Stanley in the Kiss movie?
Yeah, I will see that one. And
Yes.
I'm pretty sure I will be mad at it. But you know what? To be fair, when the movie version they did of The Dirt, I thought was highly enjoyable and very well done.
And you know what? As well, I didn't like it. What is it? I remember when the Jonas Brothers came out because I was a kid in the 2000s. I watched everything from Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Disney Channel. I saw it at some point.
Yeah.
I didn't notice until recently looking at Nick Jonas. I think he could pull off a Paul Stanley.
Yeah.
Slap a wig on him.
That'll be an interesting movie if it ever actually gets finished, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But anyway, but back on to Queen.
Yes.
But they kind of came up in the same era as Kiss. So so for Queen for you, Queen seems like the kind of band by the time you were a kid, you were like hearing it in the supermarket probably.
Yeah, I heard Queen everywhere. In as a
Being an English band,
yeah, being a kid in Britain, right? You hear a lot of Queen everywhere you go. No, seriously though, like they are until someone pointed it out to me, obviously when I was up until I was about 11, I was kind of clueless. I just I liked music if it was on, but I didn't know it by name. When I realized how many songs I knew by this one band, I realized, oh man, this is a good one.
And once you figure out that like all these songs actually are the same band, you're like, this is all the same band? Yeah.
Yeah. I can remember as soon as I got an iPod, my first ever iPod was a green 8 gigabyte because I thought that would be enough at the time when I was when I was 11 years old. I got a green iPod Nano in 2009 for my birthday, May 6th, 2009. And what was on it? Well,
if you guys want to take note of Eddie's birthday so you can send him presents, just so you know.
Sneakily slide that in there.
P.O. Box, Eddie Sparxx, whatever.
I will be at this place at this date and time. Please don't stab me. The things I had on that iPod initially. Now this is before I'm into metal and hard rock deeply, but I had a couple Guns N' Roses songs on there. I had
Eminem for sure.
I had Eminem for yeah, absolutely. I had some songs on there that were big in the charts at the time. At some point, I will dig out that iPod and we'll have a look at it because
Okay.
it's probably a riot.
Yeah.
But I did have Queen Greatest Hits 1, 2, and 3 on there, like all of them.
Wow.
Just all three of them just put on there. Due to the sheer amount of bangers that this single group put out.
Yeah.
And the staggering thing about Queen is imagine writing this many beloved songs.
Yeah.
Like this many stadium filling songs.
Yeah. But also in this
crazy.
day and age, this kind of band doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. Like there's no band throwing this many curveballs at you and taking this many chances and being this sort of bombastic and what's the word I'm looking for? Ambitious
Yes.
with their stuff, and the masses will be into it. No, those bands are relegated to small fan bases these days. But oh well.
Yeah, it's one of those things to where they kind of they have a core sound like.
Yeah.
But they also they ride that line of I always for some and it's not because both of the frontmen are gay. That's not why. I always think of Queen and Judas Priest as Queen is rock versions of it. Judas Priest is metal versions of it, where there is a sound this band has, but they also go with the times to an extent.
Yeah, the interesting thing about bringing up those two bands is I think they have more music that intersects than doesn't. Like the Judas Priest stuff that is more hard rock and not so much just like metal guys metal.
Yeah,
Queen could have done those songs.
Yeah.
And vice versa, because that's the thing. Doing this deep dive, because I'd heard a handful of these albums all the way through, but most of them not all the way through, was the amount of of the time actual metal. Like there's no way, especially early on, that you couldn't lump these guys in with metal because there was metal elements of the metal of the time, metal of the early to mid 70s. So so that comparison with Judas Priest I think is right on, because Judas Priest in their own way was ambitious and did experiment and did sort of mold and shape their sound for whatever they were feeling at the time for a particular album or what's going on in the world of music. And so the interesting thing though is the Judas Priest, while the 80s Judas Priest is my sweet spot, I found that 80s Queen, not so much for me. But we'll get into that because we're going to start ranking. This is the bottom half. The bottom, what did we say?
Okay.
Shit. Why am I bad with the numbers? Bottom 7 is what we're doing?
Yeah.
Bottom
yeah.
7, and then top 8 is next episode. So let's just get into it. Bottom 7. So we have 15 releases, so we're starting with number 15. And this is going to be one of those things where if we match up anywhere, it's going to be interesting. Yeah. I do think there's a possibility that once we get to the end, to the top, there might be similar albums. But let's find out. Let's start it off as usual with Eddie Sparxx and his number 15 Queen album.
Okay, my number 15 Queen album is the 15th Queen album. It is Made in Heaven.
Okay.
And there's multiple factors that go into this. It is a posthumous release. Comes out 4 years after the death of Freddie Mercury. It's pieced together over it's pieced together over 15 years of recording to some extent. I think the earliest recorded stuff dates back to January 1980. And the latest stuff is February 95. Obviously, Freddie's vocals wouldn't go past 91 because sadly he passed away that year from AIDS, which is tragic, awful, and it's a void no one's ever really filled. And people have tried.
but
People have tried. Yeah. It's one of those albums where it's like there's some great songs on it, but you can tell some of the songs are kind of pulled together from, you know, our singer is gone and this is the last hurrah of it. And also the last 22 odd minutes is like a reprised hidden track of well the last 3 tracks are a reprise to some extent. It's a Beautiful Day reprise, 4 seconds of Freddie going yeah and track 13 is this ambient Queen montage thing.
Yeah, we're right smack in the middle of the fit as much as you can on a CD era.
Yeah, which for this release I can forgive because it's like, hey, this is the last of what we had.
Yeah,
we might as well try and throw as much out there as we can for it. But you know, you got I mean, Made in Heaven, that's a great one. Fucking Heaven for Everyone, Too Much Love Will Kill You, love that one. Winter's Tale is a nice Christmassy one. But again, when I listen to this, there's this sad aura around it where it's like, where it's like, man, what could have been?
It's there's certain albums like that it's hard for me to listen to, even though I may like things about them. A good example is the last Bowie record, which I really liked, but I've never been able to listen to it again because it's real heavy. Not just subject matter in the album, but just knowing that he literally just recorded the album knowing he was on the way out and this would be the last thing. And so it's like hard to listen to that stuff for me, but maybe one day. But this is one of those where it does have gives me that vibe, and it's kind of tough.
And like I say, it doesn't. To me, as good as the songs are for considering that they scrapped it together from stuff that was recorded 4 years after his death. I mean, for stuff to be this good.
Yeah, in '95 that was pretty great. Other bands, like around that time the Beatles did it too.
Anthology stuff,
yeah. So that I think that was at the point where people were figuring out, well, we can do this. But I think in those 2 cases they were warranted and done pretty well, really. Yeah.
Well, like I say, this is a cool thing to have, but it definitely has like a sad aura around it, and I only really reach out for about half of the songs on here. The other ones I don't really ever think of.
Yeah. But all right, dogs. I swear.
The last 20 minutes are crucial. Essential song.
Whenever we should, if we put out an album on CD, we should make all of the last running time just my dogs barking, with like a reverb on or whatever.
Yeah. No, do you know what we should do? We should do a Limp Bizkit and take the same bark and loop it for the rest of the album.
And then we'll loop in Ben Stiller laughing with it.
Hell yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Right, so 15 Made in Heaven.
Yeah. I feel like that one. I've got a couple albums that made it to the bottom through no fault of their own, other than being a very specific situation. So I'm going to hand things back over to you.
Okay. Yeah. I have a different number 15, and there are a handful of these albums that I knew all the way through, and then the rest of them I didn't, and so I went chronologically through the albums and listened to all of them. And it was quite an experience, really, listening to a lot of that stuff so close together, because they covered so much ground in relatively, just a couple decades. That's it. But 14 albums, all pretty much within that time. So, but there was a point where I just started getting disappointed with them. And the culmination of that disappointment is my number 15, which is The Miracle from 1989. Their 13th album. First off, one of the worst album covers I've ever seen.
It is pretty unsightly.
It's
isn't it?
really bad. And the sad thing is, apparently it took a lot of time and money to make that image at the time. And I'm like, well, I mean, the idea, I guess, was cool, but it is, I can't even look at it. There's, something about that image. It just really, it's like, no, I don't want to look at this.
It's ghastly.
Yeah. But at this point, they had gone well into the Queen 80s soft rock era. And there's some light 80s synth in there. It's almost like the synth stuff was being used in more of a cooler way, and then all of a sudden it literally just they became the band that the middle-aged folk who were now accountants were listening to, along with they had their Don Henley album and all this other shit. And honestly, just thinking about where they had come from, that it seems like a completely different band, except for the fact that you have Freddie Mercury's voice. And the songs on this album are mostly uninteresting, which is also a really big letdown because of how much really interesting music they did. Now, I know, for what this is, it's very well done, but unfortunately, it's in the same pile as all these other albums. And so really the only track that I really, really enjoyed, I guarantee you most people hate it, and that was The Invisible Man. It's fucking weird and fun, and I love it.
Like Invisible Man.
But I guarantee you that most people are probably like, that's the shittiest song on the album. I'm like, nah, I don't know. It was the one where I was like, ooh, whatever they're doing here, I'm digging this. But a band that
the Invisible Man. I'm the
Yes.
Invisible Man.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I love that. It is cool because it's like, what were they thinking with that synth sound? But
Yes.
it is. Yeah, it is cool. Sorry,
But I love that. Speaking of that,
Yeah.
also the whenever there's other band members on vocals,
yes,
sometimes it's a little bit of a letdown, but occasionally those songs are so detached from what's going on that I kind of go, ooh, this is kind of cool. And so occasionally I actually dig it. But my biggest takeaway for The Miracle is that the big disappointment for me was that a band that for so many albums seemed musically ahead of the curve now seemed very much behind the curve. And so, yeah. And I know that around this time, so this is 89, so Freddie had already been diagnosed. He was already struggling with all this shit. And a big reason why, I consider him like a musical icon and a musical hero is not just the fact that he was so talented and had such an amazing voice, but his work ethic for the stuff that he loved. So many people out there would have just immediately retired or immediately. I mean, and he literally until the last, as far as I from what I've read, until the last month of his life was working on music, and
he couldn't not do it.
Yeah, and that's it's like there are other people, obviously, like Lemmy comes to mind, fucking Ozzy, but so even if I don't love everything that they did, there's those rare people that I'm just like that. I feel like those are my people. My heroes are the ones that are just like, the thing that I love, I am not going to stop doing this. Nothing is going to stop me from doing this except for death, and it's going to have to wait. It's like, at some point, I'm gonna drop dead, but I'm going to have just finished recording something, And anyway, so as much as I don't like The Miracle, it's still one of those things where, man, they just fucking kept going, and I love it. And maybe years down the line, if I get really more and more into Queen as a whole, I might find things that I love about these lower albums. But this time around, The Miracle was kind of a disappointment for me. So that's my number 15.
This is going to be a very interesting set of episodes. I am very excited to see where this goes, because I feel like we're going to have maybe barring a couple of spots, I feel like we're going to have a very different list. But do you know?
Great, I love it.
The cool thing about this discography is that even at the bottom, like you said, it's varying degrees of good.
Yes,
they're still killing it, doing what Queen does, regardless of whether or not the work is groundbreaking or not.
Yeah,
they're still very good performers and songwriters. And Freddie Mercury, man, like that is what a badass dude. I mean, you can see that he is ill.
Yeah.
In the
Innuendo stuff.
Yeah, the Innuendo, like the videos for that stuff, like These Are the Days of Our Lives, that video, he looks ill. But do you know what? That motherfucker, wasn't going to stop until it killed him. And, he went out and has remained an icon.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I love when it comes back around and younger people are getting into music like this, because Freddie Mercury is one of those people that deserves that. He deserves every 10 to 20 years it needs to cycle back, because some shit is just that good, and not even that good in like I like it. There's some stuff that I look at and I go, that is so good and culturally important and musically significant that it should have a cycle where it just comes right back up to the top again. And so I love that.
One of the coolest things that's happened in the last few years or so is when I was about 12, when I got into rock and metal music, is my cousin, who really is the closest thing I have to a sister, because I'm an only child. She's the closest thing I have to a sister. And in the last few years, she's latched onto her first musical obsession, and that is Queen.
Nice. Yeah.
She can sing every word from every song on every album, levels of into this fucking
okay. Yeah.
We're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking posters, light wallpapering the room. If I've owned Queen paraphernalia, it's in her possession now. Simply put, it's a testament to how good this band is.
Yeah.
That someone born in 2010 resonates with it,
Yes. Yeah.
And
I absolutely agree.
Yeah, it's awesome to see. So,
but we're still at the lower half of the stuff. Imagine what the conversation is going to be like on the next episode. So we're moving on to number 14. What's your number 14? Yeah, this is fascinating. I'm interested to see where this goes.
Now, I know you love this one, and I docked it places because of one very specific reason.
Okay.
I'm judging it by how is it as a Queen album. Mm-hmm. However, as a soundtrack, it is like top tier. Oh God,
no! This far down? Oh Lord!
Now I will get back to you on this, because
if we had done this episode like really early on, I would have been like, I can't do this with him anymore.
Now, my main thing with this is, as much as I love it, I mean, Flash's theme, football fight. I want my fiance, I want my wife to walk down the aisle to the wedding march from this soundtrack, because nothing instills more sophistication in me than Brian May playing a piece of classical music on his guitar.
Yeah,
even down to the wedding march, the fucking British national anthem. I mean, it was God Save the Queen. It's now God Save the King. Whoever's in power at the time,
Or over here, it's like America the Beautiful or something. We fucking stole that shit and made it shittier, as we often do.
Either way, nothing. You know me, but nothing makes me more proud of this country than the sound of Brian May's guitar. You know, there is something about it. There's something about it that makes me go, being British ain't that shit. You know?
Yeah. So you know what, like, just stepping back from it, I get, because like the way that you've done this so far, you've got the album that was pieced together after Freddie was gone, and now you've got the one that is a soundtrack, not really an album. Although I would have said that you should have put, is it The Works? What's the Highlander one? Is that The Works?
That's A Kind of Magic.
A Kind of Magic. Oh yeah, and I would put that lower.
Okay.
But that's just me. But anyway, but I get it. I get what you're going for.
Yeah, it's if I'm judging it by its strengths as a Queen album, there's one Queen song really, and the rest is
two. You got the hero,
two?
the hero.
Okay,
although
okay,
the hero eventually incorporates the first song into it as well. So, yeah. Okay.
So if I was judging it on Flash, like that's one of the greatest theme songs anyone's ever had ever.
Yeah.
And no one's going to deny that when I hear Football Fight, the synthwave part of me is awakened.
Yeah.
And I enter Rocky 4 mode. Mm-hmm. There are many highlights that I enjoy on this album. Mm-hmm. However, it is a very specific flavor of Queen. It is Flash. You know?
That soundtrack is so good that if they ever reboot Flash Gordon and they don't use the Queen song, there should be riots in the streets.
Absolutely. If something causes like an apocalypse calamity, I would, rightfully so. Frankly, if they don't use Queen in that soundtrack,
what's the point of making it?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go on record and say that movie is perfection. Like, it is, like, I don't want it to be any different than it is. Like, even at the time, like, some of the special effects are a little silly, and it's dated.
My Hawkman,
and it's campy. But like, watching it now, I'm like, this is perfect. Please don't fuck with this ever. This is perfect. So anyway, I saw Flash Gordon a long time ago. I haven't seen it in at least, like, I want to say 16 years. I haven't seen it. It's a blast.
In ages. And as soon as it's on at some point, I will catch it. But if I'm judging this on its quality as a Queen album, there's one full Queen song, and the rest is soundtrack. As much as I'd love to have this higher, because it is badass, but I think at the same time, this highlights how badass Queen's discography is. If this is this low,
okay,
through really no fault of its own, other than it being a soundtrack. So,
don't worry, this album's gonna get its flowers next episode from me.
See, that's the beautiful thing about this show is if I have something low, you might have it high, or
except for like Helmet and things like that, where we're in agreement.
I was going to say, in the unfortunate case of some bands where we've matched up on the bottom. But hey ho. The football is in your court with this one.
It's funny enough that what I brought up earlier is actually my number 14, A Kind of Magic from 1986 is my number 14. Their 12th album. This is when they pass into that 80s soft rock side of things. Yeah. And so, from what I read, some of these songs were recorded and written for Highlander, and some of them weren't. So it's like not really a soundtrack. But unfortunately, with what they were doing on a lot of this album, this is when I feel like they kind of fell behind, and they all of a sudden just sound like other bands of the time that were kind of aiming for that suburban housewife demographic. And it's just kind of bland and not very interesting. and I wrote down the album is as interesting as the title. Like that, you say that name, A Kind of Magic. A kind of, I mean, if it like a name like Magic, that sounds like, oh yes, but this is like a kind of magic. I'm like, that's a really ho hum album title.
You know, I've never noticed that, but now you've brought it up.
A kind of magic.
I think even if they kept the song A Kind of Magic, like I think Magic would have been a better album title. I agree.
Or just call it fucking Highlander. That sounds cool as shit. And plus, like the album wraps up with Princes of the Universe, which I really like, but in this album, it's just too little, too late. Like that song's not amazing. It is cool, but once it happens, I'm just like, now you guys show up with a banger. So, but I think at this point, from reading, what I could find out there about these albums and about what was happening with the band at the time, by the mid 80s, it was really clear that there was a lot of different ideas of what this band was supposed to be and what they wanted to do. And they were still working together, but I really feel like that, unfortunately, if you have, too many cooks, and then there's the cooks are just like all have all these different ideas, but then at the end of the day, you just go, yeah, don't put any seasoning in there at all. Why would we do it? We put so many different ingredients. We don't need any seasoning. No seasoning. And that's what you get with like an album like this. It's literally just like there's some ideas, but they're all kind of like, ugh, okay, this is fine. I guess I'll eat a piece of bread for dinner. If it's food. Comparatively speaking to other Queen albums, this is a piece of bread as opposed to a full-on sandwich of earlier albums. So I don't know. That worked and was stupid at the same time. So so yeah, Kind of Magic. Honestly, this is the last one. These bottom two are the only two where I was like, yeah, this really didn't do anything for me, which is weird because you get. Once again, bringing the comparison of Judas Priest, you get 1986, 1989. I'm 100% into Judas Priest, what they're doing. But for Queen, the excitement is not there. It's very well done stuff, but it's just not very interesting to listen to. So Kind of Magic, kind of magic, whatever. Sort of magic. It's magic a little bit, maybe. Okay.
Perhaps
anyway,
some magic.
Anyway, number, perhaps some magic. That's such actually, that's a better title. Perhaps some magic. Yeah. Anyway, that's my number 14.
I'm gonna say the thing that stands out to me whenever, like, as soon as I put this album on, it's like it kicks off with One Vision, and that's one of those songs where I get so in the zone with it, where I just think of Iron Eagle. That bit. Yep. I'm like, right, that's it.
Shit.
I'm rescuing my father from, someone who's not American.
I have to put that on my list of VHSs to buy.
Hell yeah.
Iron Eagle. I need that one.
Never say die. Iron Eagle.
Yeah.
Never look back. Never say die.
That movie was the equivalent of a kind of Top Gun.
You motherfucker! I just taken a sip of my drink.
But I loved it when I was a kid. But like, really, it was like, I want a movie like Top Gun. Well, this will do. It's not quite Top Gun.
Dude, that soundtrack rules though. That's got Twisted Sister on it.
Yeah.
Got fucking King Cobra.
Yeah. It's been a while since I watched that movie, but it's one of those movies that I know, oh man, I'm going to enjoy watching that again. So yeah.
Yeah. Dude, yeah. Fun thing while we're on the subject of that album. I don't remember if I showed you, but there's a song on that King Cobra album that has the Iron Eagle song on it. What's it called? It is like, you know that Winger song with a rap section in it?
Yep. I do now, thanks to you.
Imagine that, but it's not quite pulled off.
shit.
What is it?
You saying Kip Winger's a better rapper than this guy?
He's probably a better speller. I just put King Corb. I was looking for King Cobra. Here we go. King Cobra.
I don't know much about King Cobra, actually.
What song was it? Home Street Home. There it is. I'm pretty sure that's the one.
I'm gonna find that later. And
I am a white man and I am rapping.
My name's King Cobra, and I'm here to say,
don't do drugs, even though we are.
yeah, don't do drugs because I got arrested once.
Have you ever seen Have you ever seen the Sex Offender Shuffle?
No,
Dude, it's so funny. It's like this Adult Swim skit where it's like made to look like it's a VHS of, like, you know, home movie thing.
is it like the Super Bowl shuffle?
It's so funny, dude. It's like the state of Florida has asked us to disclose our sexual crimes to you. We were bad, but now
awful,
we're
yes.
good. We're moving into your neighborhood. And there's one line that makes me fucking die. It's it goes, I'm Mark Dolan dropping rhymes. I've been arrested 7 times. Something else. But 3 of those were just vandalism. It's great. If you've never seen it, look up Sex Offender Shuffle. It's hilarious.
That's funny. Also not funny.
Yeah. No. Don't laugh.
That was my. I felt like that was my David Brent moment from The Office. Racist.
Yeah.
All right, number 13. Yes.
Number 13. Now, I wanted this one to be higher because initially I appreciated it for being such a bold move, but as the album progressed, I couldn't help but feel a little bit overwhelmed by songs that I wanted to be better because they were such a step in a different direction.
Can I guess?
Go ahead.
Is it Hot Space?
It is Hot Space.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to come right out and say that the album starts strong.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I'm with you. 100% agree.
Yeah. I think I was I think the reason it landed as low as it did was because it started so strong that when it fell off a bit, I was disappointed.
It falls off when the other band members get a say. It's just Freddie Mercury. When Freddie Mercury's running the show on that first half, it is fun.
Yeah. And it's the thing is, I mean, the thing I noticed right out of the gate that I didn't realize the first time, I 100% am firmly of the belief that the Seinfeld theme was ripped from Staying Power 100%.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
like, yeah, and even the little things in there as well. I couldn't help but feel, man, this is sexy Seinfeld.
Nobody has ever said that.
Well,
Maybe
makes
Seinfeld's
sense.
wife might have said it once. Does he have a wife?
It just makes sense that I'm the motherfucker that has to turn up and come and say it because you know I'm here now and
he's all like, what's with all these women wanting to sleep with me?
What's with Hot Space? Was it 10 songs no one can make their mind up on, but Under Pressure being a classic? But yeah, it ultimately, like, Las Palabras de Amor, the words of love.
Words of love, yes.
I mean, that's a good later album track, but I mean, ultimately, I felt disappointed because I went into it expecting it to be this huge change of pace, and it was. But once that 1-2 punch of Staying Power and Dancer, the songs begin to fall into this thing of, I'm not upset because they've gone in this direction. I'm more underwhelmed by the songs as opposed to, you know, the actual direction they took. Because I would have been,
it's really the second half for me because it really is the equivalent of you're in a souped up sports car and you're gaining speed and you're driving fast and you're having a blast and right in front of you there's a fucking ramp and you're like, we're gonna go to the ramp, and we get really close to the ramp and then side two happens and they veer off the road.
yeah.
And you're still going fast, but now you're like, but wait,
there was a ramp.
There was a ramp. And that's what they did with Hot Space. They literally just they went around the ramp, and I don't know who to blame for it. But, you know, it's not Freddie. It's not Freddie's fault.
It's one of those I really wanted to like more than I do. And, I mean, I even like the artwork on it.
Yeah,
you know,
pop art type stuff.
Yeah, I was really expecting this to be their Miami Vice album.
And yeah, it should have been.
And at some level it is, but I feel like they don't go hard enough.
Nope.
In that direction. Like there's a couple of songs that just about get there.
Yeah.
But it goes off a bit of a cliff.
Yeah, there's I mean, this album's higher for me, but you're saying a lot of the things that I would say. So
yeah, it was higher, but since revisiting, it's just
for me it's kind of tough to rank an album lower if it has Under Pressure on it. Yeah. It could have just been Under Pressure, and it wouldn't have been the last album on the list because I'm just like, God, that song it's always fucking moving. It's always good.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, but I know it wasn't made for the album, so they just kind of tacked it on at the end. But it's on the album, so it counts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. Well, that's cool. That's my number 13.
All right, my number 13, Made in Heaven from 1995. Okay. 15th and final Queen album. My only real gripe about this is that I don't like the title of the album or the album cover, because I worked at Best Buy at my very first job when this album came out, and I remember seeing it and just being like, "Is this a bootleg?" Like they couldn't come up with a better cover than this, just a photograph of a statue. And I'm just like, it just doesn't seem like they treated it as special as it was with just that thrown away photo. And I realized that they probably put thought behind it and had a photographer, take different photos, because what I read, there's different photos or whatever, but I don't know. It doesn't work for me. Anyway, so this album's put together, and the interesting thing for me, and the thing that kind of knocks it down a few spaces for me, was because at first I was like, okay, this is previously recorded vocals and piano from Freddie Mercury. But then I found that they literally just took other songs that were already done and then just remixed them and put them in this. So there's 2 or 3 Freddie Mercury solo songs. There's something from, I think, is Roger Taylor? Is that his name? I think he had an album. Maybe it's him. I don't remember. But there's other albums where songs already existed and they just reworked them and queened them up a little bit. Queened them up. I like that. And so that's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of lame, but they did what they had to do to put it together. The thing that I really like about this album is, unfortunately, me bringing something else to the table that isn't really the album. And it's me when I read, I think it was an interview with Brian May, and he was talking about how, they finished Innuendo, and then Freddie just continued writing and recording stuff until he couldn't. And the quote that he said was that Freddie said, "Get me to sing anything, write me anything, and I will sing it, and I will leave you as much as I possibly can." That gives me chills. That he's just so he wanted them to make this album, but just having that in your brain where you're just like, you guys, we're this amazing fucking band. I don't want to leave you with nothing. So I'm going to do whatever I can take it. I'll write stuff. You write stuff for me. I'm going to do every fucking thing that I can to make sure that there's another album. And that's insane. I mean, it's so that gives this album a little bit more, because the songs where it's the recently recorded Freddie, vocals and stuff. I just think about this guy that's just like, literally just like fucking Innuendo. The show must go on. Like that. Literally, that was his. He's just like, no. This is not. I'm not gonna just lay down and die. I'm gonna do all the work that I can do for my band before I'm gone. Mm-hmm. And that's fucking amazing. So it's an interesting listen. And some of the songs I really like. Some of the songs, not so much. And it would be. I feel like every single person that's heard this album would probably say the same thing, that it just feels like something's missing. And it's true. Even with Freddie's voice and some piano there's an aura that's kind of missing from some of it. So while I enjoyed it and I like what it is, this is the kind of thing that I love. Like when somebody is taken from us for whatever reason, where in Freddie's case it was a disease, and then you've got like other people who just get older and then they die. But it's because Ozzy had been through a whole lot, but he got Parkinson's and a lot of what he was an old man. He didn't get taken from us in his 30s or whatever, and so, but if anyone after that happens, if a band is able to come together and put together something that as fans we haven't already heard, I think that's a great sort of love letter to the fans. Like, here you go. Here's this one last thing. Here's what we could do with what we have. And in the case of Made in Heaven, you had Freddie Mercury's stamp of approval, because he literally said, I'm doing as much as I can. Please make an album with this. And that's fucking great. I love that. Anyway.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's still kind of pieced together, and not all of it hits for me. But I like things about it. But that's my number 13, Made in Heaven.
Well, while we're at this point, I just want to raise a pretty cool thing about where I'm from. Do you know where Queen's first concert was?
Was it in Cornwall?
It was.
Wow.
Yep. So it says here, Queen's first concert under the name Queen was held at the City Hall in Truro, which is Cornwall's only city, on June 27th, 1970. This was a charity gig organised by Roger Taylor's mother for the British Red Cross. And the band was still using the name Smile at this stage, but the show marked the beginning of their journey as Queen, apparently. But basically, one of their early, if not the first show, was in Truro.
Nice.
Which is where I am near-ish. It's our only city. Cut me some slack.
Well, that confuses me, because I'm like, I thought Cornwall was the city. Like, what is Truro like just a section of Cornwall?
So Cornwall is the county. Truro is the city.
Oh, interesting. Cornwall County.
So whenever you look at the UK on a map, we're the bottom section that kind of looks like a deformed cowboy boot. Okay. We're the very bottom, gangly looking end bit. Yeah, it's a cool place. A lot of beaches.
Yeah. All
pretty
right.
Cool.
Well, that is great.
Yeah. Little Cornwall love letter in this episode, I thought. Anyway,
number 12.
My number 12 is, and I'm shocked that this album is here. My number 12 is The Game.
Okay.
And my reason for this, in part, is a little bit of overplay on the hits. I mean,
sure.
You got Crazy Little Thing Called Love and Another One Bites the Dust. I mean, those are songs that if I hear them in isolation, when I specifically go to them, I'm like, this is a great song. Mm-hmm. But I've heard them so many times. I'm like, Give me some deeper Queen stuff, please. However, Dragon Attack, one of my favorite songs on the album.
Great one, yeah.
I mean, it's a good album,
Yeah.
but to me, off of the heels, I mean, this is their first album of the 80s, very early 80s. I mean, you're talking 1980. It's basically still 70s Queen,
Yeah.
but with a little bit of a pop focus.
Yeah.
Some disco thrown in as well. Kind of like, I feel like this is kind of like if you took Dynasty and Unmasked by Kiss and put it together,
Yeah.
but Queen did it ish. If you
Yeah.
catch my drift, you know, they've gone all in on the pop structure a little bit. There's a little more focus on songs that don't really have progressive elements so much as they are catchy.
Yeah.
And coming off of the heels of all of the previous Queen albums, this is the first one that feels a little bit tame. Because something that's a major draw of those 70s Queen albums is the fact that they'd hit you with a pop song 1 minute and then give you an absolute fucking progressive opus the next, you know?
Yeah.
And
Plus, every time I listen to Another One Bites the Dust, I feel like I want to have marijuana. I don't know why.
yeah, it's almost as if you play it backwards, you
Yeah.
hear something funny. As if no one
It
thought.
works because every time I hear it, I'm like, who's got the weed?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if I've ever heard the game sober. At least all the way through. But yeah, you know, it's one of those Queen albums where it's like, yeah, the songs are catchy, but there's not really any spice to it, you know?
Sure.
It feels to me like Queen at their most basic, you know, in a way to where they've not done any. This is the most bare bones version of the Queen sound at this point. And I think it's weird. It's this like exact middle point of, it's not got the synth or the hard rock or the shred of the 80s stuff, and it's not got any of the progressive or left turn kind of stuff of the 70s stuff. It's just, I hate to call it this, but it's like the mid Queen album.
Yeah.
It's right in the middle. And overall, I think the songs are good. There's just not anything overly interesting to me about it at this point.
Yeah.
Knowing all the other Queen stuff, it's a very bare bones version of what the band is.
Yep.
That's pretty much my take on it. The game, my number 12.
All right, we're moving from the game to the works. My number 12 from 19...
That's my number 11. So if we want to camp out here for a bit,
Sweet. So from 1984, the 11th Queen album starts off with Radio Gaga, which I like that song. So that's a good beginner. But song number 2, Tear It Up, is a banger. Tear It Up's great.
yeah, tear it up.
And at this point, the electronic elements that they were toying with are still there, but they've kind of returned. The rock has been incorporated into it again.
Yeah, there's more of a balanced. There's more of a balance to those two worlds.
Yeah, but my biggest issue with this album is the fact that there are songs that sound like things they already did, and that the fact that there's another song that just sounds like Crazy Little Thing Called Love, I'm just like, oh, well, you guys did this song already. You don't need to do this again. I didn't really even like it the first time, but that's just me. Then you get something like Machines or Back to Humans, which actually sounds like something new and incorporates like electronic and rock, and like when they really are fucking with this hybrid of rock and electronic stuff, that's when the album is the most enjoyable for me. Because then you get to like what I think was the biggest song from the album, I Want to Break Free, which like nothing happens in that song. It's just compared to other songs on the album, I'm just like, this is it. This is all the song is. So it's kind of a bummer in the album for me, even though like it's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. But I almost feel like at this point you can tell that there's a struggle between everyone about where the music should go. You hear it in the album, and unfortunately, as the album moves on, it has a tough time holding my attention, even when it gets to like Hammer to Fall, which Hammer to Fall is a good song, but that doesn't even quite do it for me. So there are things about this album that I really enjoy, and then there's other things where I'm just like, it feels like they couldn't agree, and this is the album. And that kind of bums me out, but it's still got some really good songs on it. So it's that's what I'm saying about the 80s. I really feel like I just hear them not being able to make it work. And this is called The Works, but I don't think it works all the time. So I feel like there's, I mean, I don't know. At this point in 84, they were all rich, famous rock stars. And when that happens, all of a sudden, you're not a band that's hanging out together and going everywhere together. All of a sudden, you have these separate lives. And sometimes that you hear that in the music. And I feel like that's what this album sounds like to me. A band of very talented people who are getting together for the kids kind of thing, you know? Still able to do some great shit, but it's just not all amazing. Comparatively speaking, unfortunately have to say that for like pretty much everything on this list, because it's like, oh, this album goes here, but only because they did all these other fucking albums. So so my number 12, The Works. Your number 11, The Works.
I gotta hand it to Roger Taylor to proving that when it comes to looking like a lady in a band, the drummer has to be the cutest. You know, because in the music video for "I Want to Break Free," I mean, it's indisputable that he makes the most convincing girl in that video.
I didn't know that video was controversial over here, but it makes sense because Americans are pretty lame. So
well,
not all of them. There's some cool ones out there.
It's the whole, drag angle, and you know what? I think that at the end of the day, Roger Taylor, call me
bangable.
Anyway, well, it's just funny to me that like I feel like him and when the cat dragged what the cat dragged in era Ricky Rocket.
Oh. Yeah,
there's a similarity there, and I just think it's funny that they're both drummers in the 80s at that point.
So really, if you met them at a bar and then they said to you, "I have a penis," you'd be like, "I think I can make that work." For the podcast people, he holds up his beer. Yeah, so
20 quid, mate. Right, so The Works.
The Works.
Yep. So you wanna dig me out of this one?
Yeah, let's move on to my number 11, which is the first one where my ranking with this album and the one that's above it are where I go, are Queen fans going to start getting mad at me? I don't know. But my number 11 is Queen from 1973.
Okay.
So it's an impressive debut album. It's obviously it's more prog rock with some metal of the time in there. There's stuff in there that I go, that sounds like metal from the 70s. And it's clear they were already a great band from album one. And the thing that's the most impressive about this album for me is the fact that they already were writing these dynamic, multifaceted songs, already doing it. And overall the album sounds good for that era and everything.
Yeah.
I love the song Liar. That's a really fun one. But I think the reason this one goes lower for me is because they immediately followed up with something better. And while I really enjoy the early stage ambition that they have, I feel like the songwriting gets better, album 2 and forward. And so comparatively speaking, this one is just like, this should just call this episode Comparatively Speaking. Yeah, I just think as much as I enjoy things about this album, it's like that. It's that meme where I'm walking hand in hand with Queen, and then Queen 2 is passing me by, and I'm just like, oh, hello.
Yeah.
You know? So that's why. So that's what this, because these are albums that I've heard before. I've heard this Queen album before. And so I like things about it, but yeah, they improve on this, like over and over again, improve on it. But it is still a very impressive first album and a lot of fun. But I just think they did so much better and so much more interesting things. And so that's my number 11, Queen.
You're going to like this. My number 10 is Queen.
Hey, all right.
So I think this is an excellent debut from a band that would go on to further blow people's minds and keep doing that. I think this is one hell of a kick the doors in. We've arrived. Holy shit. Who are we? This is who we are.
Yeah.
I mean, fucking hell. Keep Yourself Alive is just a great rocker, but then immediately you follow it up with songs like Doing All Right, Great King Rat, My Fairy King, and that's just side one.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of changes, and there's a lot of the thing running through Queen that a lot of bands from this time don't have and keep it more in the bluesy realm is that Queen have a sophistication about them.
Sure.
And there's
theatricality, if you will.
Theatricality, I just feel like, there is it's like the name Queen instills that it does what it says on the tin, where it's like, we're rock royalty already and we already fucking know it.
Yeah.
And like, this is only the first side. This is going to be stuck in your head, and it's also incredibly complex, even if you don't realize that it is. And then the real standout on side 2 for me is the fact that on top of all this, you have the 1-2 punch of modern times rock and roll and son and daughter, which at that point is like, that's like speed metal followed by Sabbath way early in the hard rock thing. And it's this band that does all this other stuff as well.
Yeah.
So at this point in 1973?
Yeah, 1973.
It feels like this band is on the cutting edge of everything.
Yeah. Well, think about that for a second. Like 1973-ish, like you have to think about what's going on in the musical landscape, not just of the things that are going on, but also because around the same time you have Rush coming out.
Yeah.
These two bands that end up becoming like so unique, but also being successful at doing this music that isn't necessarily for everybody, but it becomes, fairly, obviously Queen got bigger than Rush, but what was in the fucking water in the early 70s? We're just like, and I think it's because the music industry at that point was welcoming different voices. And which is the same thing that happened in the 90s, where all of a sudden, major record labels were open to like, well, we don't really know if this is going to connect, but they seem talented. Let's put them out there. And so that's to me, that's one of the best things about like the early 70s is that there seemed to be so much stuff backed by major record labels that you can't just sum it up in one paragraph.
Yeah.
The first Queen album, even though they would improve upon it, you can't just give me a blurb and explain what the album's like. It's not enough. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And at this point, what is it? Like Led Zeppelin had 5 albums out. Rush would come along a year later.
Sabbath had 4 out at this point or something like that. 5.
Sabbath had 5.
Yeah.
But like the thing is, with this Queen album, it's like it feels like these guys are pulling from Zeppelin, yes, classical music, blues, everywhere. You know, all like the. It feels like, especially on these first 2 Queen albums, that, you know, and on subsequent releases as well. But Queen later on really developed the Queen sound to where it's just, this is what Queen sounds like. But on the first 2 or 3 albums, it's very much a case of we can do, it's kind of like Toto. We can do any style and nail it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
that's a good comparison, especially that first Toto album. That's a good comparison. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of these that you get these 70s rock debuts from bands that go on to do incredibly well-known songs, and starting off it's like, hey, here's a little bit of everything we know how to do.
Yeah.
And Queen, this first Queen album, despite the fact that they would go on to best it many times over, it feels like an absolute mission statement at the same time of, we've arrived, and there's before us and there's after us. And that's a cool way to, it's a brilliant album to introduce yourself to the world if you're gonna double, triple, fucking I don't know bull down. You know.
Yes.
It's excellent. That as far as debuts go, holy shit.
Yeah.
I'd be proud to come out with something half as good as this.
Yeah. Sweet. Okay. Well, I mean, you know, the beer sip tells me that's like a exclamation point on it.
Yes. In lieu of a mic drop, because I'm on a podcast and that would sound like shit.
Yeah. It would. So this is where I think some fans might be annoyed with me, because my number 11 was Queen, the debut album. My number 10 is Hot Space from 1982. So I put Hot Space above the debut album because I had never really heard this album before. I had heard Under Pressure, of course, a lot of times. Love that song. So the first half of the album, which is the first side of the LP, I was having such a fucking great time, and I'm just like, no way they did this kind of album. It's like a fucking party. It's a party for, and so I wrote down on my notes the party album ... almost, because the party gets sabotaged on the second half. But at this point in their discography, going through all their albums, this is a welcomed oddity for lack of a better term. Oddity is a good way to put it. And because they had already perfected the Queen album, quote unquote. And something different is needed to shake things up. I'd say that about any band. Once you've done like Master of Puppets, you can do similar things, sure, but those kind of albums are the ones where I'm like, follow that up with something that's just like, whatever, fuck it, let's do something different. And
you nailed it. Time to experiment. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And the first side of the album is just so enjoyable for me, because it sounds, not only does it sound nothing like the earlier Queen that you had already heard, it doesn't sound like anything else we've heard for 40 years. So at this point, it has the added bonus of being in this time capsule of music that was made in the early 80s. And also doesn't sound that much like Queen. And so as I was listening to it, I was like, this is like, maybe in 82, I would have felt different if I was a Queen fan. But, you know, at that point I was like, what, 4 or 5 years old? But
4.
In hindsight, I'm just like, this is so great. Like, first half of the album. I mean, the second half of the album had things about it that I liked too. But the first half was so promising. And then, like I said, they kind of just veer off and they don't actually go on the ramp. And the second half, the non-dancey tracks, like, it kind of sabotages the album, kind of brings the album down, and gives you the idea of like the other band members were just like, come on, Freddie. And he's like, fine. Fine. Throw some of your songs in there. And then you wrap it up with Under Pressure, which is as annoyed as I am that the party's not still going throughout the last half of the album. Then that song starts, and I literally forget about the rest of the album. I'm just like, whatever. All is right in the world because Under Pressure is on now. And one of the greatest things, I know you've probably heard it, and a lot of people probably have. You can go on the internet and listen to the isolated vocals of Under Pressure of Bowie and Freddie Mercury, and it is amazing. Like if I was going to be religious, that's the kind of thing that would convert me to a religion. Just hearing these two amazing fucking vocalists in a room with a microphone. There's no, at this point, you know, there is recording tools and there's ways to make things sound one way or another. But, you know, like a lot of older folks say these days, there was no auto tune. But so just these two guys, fucking legends, just in a room together, writing and recording this amazingly beautiful rock song. And just hearing their voices bare, I'm just like, that is amazing. And it made a song that I already love even better, in my opinion, because just, you know, you knew their vocals were great, but just hearing them on their own, you're just like, God damn it, these two dudes were just fucking. We'll get to Bowie eventually, but we'll do the Bowie ranking, and you're going to hear me like, I'm a huge Bowie fan, so you're going to hear a lot from me there. But both of them, different kinds of vocal styles, but both iconic voices, amazing vocalists, amazing musicians and songwriters, and they're just in a room together making a song, and it's so amazing to listen to. Anyway, Hot Space, though. Hot Space is half of a really fun album that I've really enjoyed, and then some songs that I didn't like as much, and then Under Pressure. So really, the first half of the album and Under Pressure brought it higher than it probably would have gone.
just to be clear, Under Pressure is the one that goes dun 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 dun, dun not dun 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 dun. Dun.
Yeah, it's not the same song. There's a little difference there.
I'm so glad that you knew where I was
Thank
going.
you, Rob Van Winkle, aka Vanilla Ice.
That joke was a dice roll. I'm glad I took that risk.
I love, man, that thing was that clip was played over and over again on MTV. Yeah. Because even at the time, everyone was like, come on. Like I was, you know what? So Ice Ice Baby was what, 91, 90 or 91?
90.
So I was 12 years old. And even I was like, come on, dude. Just pay the fucking money and be like, yeah, we took this Queen and David Bowie song. But the fact that he had the audacity to be like, yeah, we added a little dung on there. And I was like, that's the dung that was already there. You just repeated the dung that they gave you. They gave you the dung. They just added another dung, and it's the dung, you're redunging it. So it's
Ice Ice Baby redung remix.
Yeah. Also, a funny thing about that song about Ice Ice Baby is for years and years, at the end of the song, I was like, because like several times in the song he says, check out the hook while my DJ revolves it. And then at the very end of the song, for some reason he says DJ weird. I was like, why does he say DJ? Check out the hook while DJ revolves it. Only to find out years later that his DJ's name was DJ Deshay. DJ Deshay. How dumb of a name is that? So at the end of the song, he actually says, check out the hook while Deshay revolves it. But for years, I was like, why does he say it weird on the last part of the song?
Damn.
Anyway, you know what? As much as people make fun of Vanilla Ice, there was one night. Sorry, Queen fans. There was one night that I listened to the Please Hammer Don't Hurt 'Em by MC Hammer, followed by To the Extreme by Vanilla Ice, and the one takeaway I had was, holy shit, Vanilla Ice was a way better rapper than MC Hammer. Both made really fun, like pop rap music of the time, which I love. And don't get me wrong, I love MC Hammer. But lyrically speaking, I'm just like, wow, Vanilla Ice was a little bit better. But not to mention had more interesting hair. But anyway, Hot Space, my number 10. Don't come at me because it's fun. It's a fun album. Number 9. This is the last one of the episode.
Holy shit!
We're on. That's okay. It's supposed to be first half, and then people can wait for the top 8. But yeah, we're on to our number 9 now. Number 9, or
Number 9.
There you go. Yeah.
Hey.
I always go to the Beatles. You always go to Big Smoke.
Big Smoke. Yeah. I have 2 number 9, a number 9 large, a number 6 with extra dip.
That was my
number 7, 2 number 45s, 1 with
45s.
cheese, and a large soda. Sorry,
one of my favorite things about doing that episode was that experience was that I downloaded the iOS version of that game, and that scene was in there, and I got to hear it. And I was like, "Oh, this is it! He said the thing."
Yeah. The best part about that cutscene is it's so early in the game that everyone experienced it.
Yeah,
like regardless of whether you got all the way through, it's so funny and so early in the game that everybody heard it.
I didn't get very much farther. All I remember at some point, I got so annoyed with the game, I kept walking back into the gym and just beating up the guy that was working at the gym, and then leaving, and then I would get annoyed again, and I'd go back in there and just beat him up again.
but you know what you've landed on. You've landed on the beauty of a free roam sandbox game.
Yes,
where you got frustrated with the main story, but you have enough freedom to go and fuck with whoever you want.
That is true. Like, wouldn't it be great if, like, you get annoyed at a certain level on Mario and you're able to just like go up into the clouds and find some fucking weird mushroom dudes and beat the shit out of them? Like, that'd be fun.
I can remember one specific time when I was a lot younger and wasn't as good at the game as I am now because I've played it 3,000 fucking times. but I remember being a kid and pretty much unloading my entire payload into this one guy that was already dead because I'd failed the mission like 10 times in a row.
Yeah.
And I just in the end, by the time I'd passed it, I didn't care what I had coming up next in the game. I just saw his corpse and riddled it with bullets for the next half hour.
I would love to live in a world where time machines exist and you could literally take that scenario and that clip and then take it back to the dudes that have just perfected Pong. They're like, Pong.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, look at where games go. This poor dude's just going to like shoot this fucking corpse for a few minutes. Enjoy your paddle ball.
Dude, can you imagine if they made a Pong where you could like beat the winner to death?
Yeah, at the end of it, you take the paddle and you beat the other dude with it. That's the updated Pong. Anyway, number 9. Number 9, Queen. The last one of this episode, number 9, Queen.
This is where, I mean, the top 10 for me really are just varying levels of hell, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I'm umming and ahhing about where I'm at. But
we're gonna have a switch again. Where like next episode, you're like, look, this one's actually my number 9.
Man,
no take backs. Just fucking do it. Come on.
My number 9 is A Day at the Races.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even I was shocked.
I don't know how it happened, but like there's a part of me that loves 80s Queen because really, if I'm being honest,
clearly from what you've left out so far.
Yeah, because do you know what I've realized is that I think Queen may be my earliest exposure to what I love about 80s rock.
Oh yeah, that would make sense.
And ultimately, I mean, I listened to chronologically. I listened through Queen, through Made in Heaven, and I went along as as I felt fit. And ultimately, I was surprised. I thought A Day at the Races was going to be a lot higher, but it ended up making it into this episode. And I still really like it. And it's another one of those cases where it's like, I remembered this album as, oh, this is one with Tie Your Mother Down on it. I used to play that in a covers band back when I was in uni.
Oh, okay.
On the side, and that was one of the, I think we opened with that. Yeah, I think we did.
It's a good opener too.
It is a good, it kicks the doors in. Somebody to Love, Good Old Fashioned Lover Boy. I mean, there's so many good ones on here, but I don't know, man. There's something that this part of the list was particularly difficult.
Yeah.
Because at this point, like, I kind of get what you mean where Queen lock into more of a standard 80s rock thing around, a kind of Magic and whatnot.
Yeah.
But there's a part of me that's like, this was my exposure to that sound.
Yeah.
And I can't put it low. And, I've historically been the 80s guy in the friend group.
Yeah.
So, ultimately, A Day at the Races ended up dropping down a few things. But don't get me wrong. If someone said, hey, do you mind if I put this on? I'd be like, hell yeah, man. This
You can say that about most of their albums, really. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those albums that's like, throw it on, hell yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not one of the first I reach for, so to speak.
Okay.
That being said, Somebody to Love is a great song. Tie Your Mother Down is a great song. Tio Toriat, Let's Cling Together. I forget how to say it. Good Old Fashioned Lover Boy, Long Away. I mean, those are the singles, but I mean, ultimately, it's a good Queen album from the 70s.
Yeah.
But it's not one of my favorite Queen albums from the 70s. And I have a lot of favorite 80s into the 90s Queen albums that I like a little bit more.
All right.
So that is my last Queen album on this episode.
Okay. Well, then I'll be talking more about that album next time. My last one for this episode, my number 9, is Innuendo from 1991.
Wow. Okay.
The 14th album, a welcome return to form from what they had done previously, in my opinion. A much bigger sound. Big sound. And not just that, the song Innuendo. I expected them to kind of return to more of a rock thing. I was not, because I think I had just heard random songs from Innuendo before I did this. The song, I was not expecting it to go all the places it goes. I'm just like, wow, they really did go all in on this song. Adventurous rock songwriting is back from Queen in this one. I think overall as an album, even though like I don't think all the songs are winners and the album does drag at times, I think that this stands up with some of their strongest stuff. Even though it is my number 9, but I really think that like this is one that if you like obviously you have this one higher and I don't fault you for it. I go, yeah, I totally get it that it's higher. There's a little bit of leftover soft rock in this album, unfortunately, as it goes on, but some of the songs are just so good. I'm going to go on record and say the Hitman has no business going that hard. Like,
100%.
The Hitman is like, I was just like, whoa, man.
Yeah.
Like they're not fucking around with that song. And then of course, The Show Must Go On, which is an amazing song, which with even more weight to it. Once you knew that like Freddie was sick at the time, but then eventually, he would pass away. And that song just like it just encapsulates whatever the word is, his drive and his devotion to what he does. And it's just like, it's amazing. And so overall, like I don't love everything on Innuendo, but like for a band that started putting out albums in the early 70s, their 1991 album is this strong. It's very impressive to me. And they were able to like bring back in the rock in the early 90s without sounding like, hey, fellow kids. It sounds more like, hey, remember us? We were the ones that inspired you, motherfuckers. It's like, so it kind of has that, that vibe, like, you thought we couldn't do this shit anymore? Here it is. And so yeah. But like the big problem with Queen is that I'm looking through my top 8. Yeah, they released so many fucking classic, amazing albums. It's crazy. So it's so really like, yeah. So Innuendo is my number 9, even though I think it's really good, very strong. Maybe it's just a little too long. Maybe if they cut out a couple songs, couple more of the soft rocker kind of things, can I take those out? But yeah. I was never bored during the album at all. It was great. So yeah, Innuendo is my number 9, which wraps up part 1 of Queen. And
I mean, real quick before we go, I am 100% the Hitman appreciation. Like, like holy shit, that song has been just a pull up to the function, here the fuck I am song in my library for so long.
I've always very much enjoyed when they turn up the guitars way too fucking loud, which they do on some songs, but for some reason it's very welcomed, and I'm just like, okay, yeah.
I tell you what, it's like, for me, it's the fact that they had more than enough street cred to do a full-blown metal album. But they were so sparing with it that when it hits, I think it hits harder.
You're probably right. That's a good point. Yeah.
To where I think they were quite clever with it, where they were like, yeah, we can.
They didn't
write a metal song.
They didn't painkiller it. Is what you're saying?
No, yeah, literally, it's not a case of we are metal maniacs and we are, It's like, no, we've got a diverse portfolio. We're just really good at this thing that is a thing. So if you hire us to write a song for an action movie, we'll fucking do it. I'm in awe.
Yeah.
Of Queen is one of those bands that in recent years I'd written off as overplayed, but you know what? Going back through, listening to all their stuff, it's given me a newfound appreciation for why this band is so revered. It's because they're good at every fucking thing, you know?
I think I've always had kind of a problem with, even though I agree with some songs, I've had a problem with the idea of something being overplayed, because
me too. Yeah, it's weird. I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But I'm I would always put it down to me being like, man, how many fucking ads has I Want It All been in? And I love I Want It All. It's one of my favorites, but it's like so I don't know if it's a thing over there, but it's definitely a thing here.
There's Queen in commercials and in the grocery store and shit.
Yeah, we're so. I mean, let's look things up for a minute. Let's have a really quick look. I'm gonna have a look at something on the old. But
it's the same thing with like somebody on Threads the other day was commenting about Nirvana, and they were trying to say like, I'll never skip a Nirvana song, even though it smells like Teen Spirit that's been overplayed. And I'm just like, I mean, I've heard Smells Like Teen Spirit easily probably around 1,000 times or more in my life.
Yeah.
And that song hits every time.
Yeah.
And I don't. So like, when I think about something being quote unquote overplayed, I think it's overplayed for a reason. And how I feel about about Smells Like Teen Spirit, somebody else feels that way about Another One Bites the Dust. Every time that song comes on, they go, fuck, man, doesn't matter. I've heard this 1,000 times, doesn't matter. It rules every time. So,
And you know something as well that I've noticed. I mean, if I go on Spotify and have a quick look here. So the songs Bohemian Rhapsody, Don't Stop Me Now, Under Pressure, Another One Bites the Dust, We Will Rock You, Crazy Little Thing Called Love, Somebody to Love, and Killer Queen. All but 2 of those songs are on different albums, and they all exceed the billion play mark. Some exceed the 2 billion play mark.
Yeah.
And one is approaching the 3 billion play mark.
Yeah.
You have made... Imagine having that much of an impact with that many songs that are that fucking good.
But the fact that we've got fucking young people, and I'm saying young people as in even younger than you, young people listening to a song like Bohemian Rhapsody and loving it, like, that makes me feel good about the future. That just that alone.
My aforementioned cousin, who is in who is here right now, and potentially on the other side of this. And you say
so she would be 15 years old at this point.
Currently 14, but approaching 15.
Yeah. And so just that is amazing. And not only that, people that I know, like, you know, in my family and whatnot, who don't really listen to rock music that much, they love music by Queen. So it's like not only crossing age barriers, it's musical barriers as well.
Yeah.
So like people that have like fucking Beyonce on shuffle, their playlist also includes some Queen, and I'm just like, that's just fucking amazing and well deserved. And I mean, preaching to the choir, I'm sure people, especially people that are still here at this episode, they either really like us or they really like Queen. The people that really like us, we refer to those as the peanut butter platypuses, the aluminium squirrels, the Belvedere ball sitters, and the Christmas dogs, which some of those I don't even remember where they came from. I know where Christmas dog came from, but that's about it.
Yeah. Belvedere ball sitters.
Oh, yes. Yes.
That came from a discussion about Mr. Belvedere, but that time he sat on his own nuts.
But yeah, so those are the people that, like, you know, watch our shit, even if they're not into a band. And honestly, if you're still watching and you weren't that into Queen, hopefully we can turn you on to some stuff, especially next episode. But because they're not, you know, as much as, like, you know, the Queen Greatest Hits Volume 1 was like the first Queen album I owned aside from Flash Gordon when I was a kid. But you know, I found out very, very soon after that they're not a greatest hits band. They are a band that has so much quality music that wasn't released as a single. Anyway, but we'll talk more about that on the next episode of Cranked and Ranked when we do the our top 8 Queen. Although, like, I feel like a lot of these, we talked about these. So there's a few that, like, we both took care of in this episode, but so it's still going to be a little bit of a hodgepodge or whatever. It's like, you know, we're going to be touching on a lot of different areas, not in a sexy way. Or maybe a sexy way. I don't know. But yeah, that's
whatever you want it to be, babes.
That's it for Queen Part 1. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you again soon for Part 2. I guess I'm just going to wrap it up. I don't know why I feel like because we haven't done a two-parter in such a long time that I feel like we forgot to do something, and I'm like, oh yeah, we forgot to do the other 8 Queen albums, but we'll get to those next time. So, thank you. You guys rule. We'll see you next time, as usual. Throwing it over to Eddie Sparxx to take us out.
Later, dude.